The ongoing relationships between Angelina Jolie and her first two husbands are utterly confusing. Angelina Jolie was escorted down the aisle by Jonny Lee Miller and Billy Bob Thornton before she wed Brad Pitt. They were one of the most talked about couples in the world from the minute the public found out that Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were a thing until they split up. In fact, the media continues to cover turbulence in the relationship between Jolie and Pitt, even though it has been years since they parted ways. It might be simple to believe that was always the case given how much attention has been paid to Jolie and Pitt for over 2 decades. But in actuality, Jolie had a number of previous romances that made headlines before she was initially connected to Pitt. Like other individuals, Jolie has dated a variety of people. In addition, some people might not be aware that Angelina had walked down the aisle with 2 other individuals before Jolie and Pitt were wed. Given that Jolie's previous 2 marriages ended in divorce, it seems logical why many people have stopped thinking about them. But if people find out more about Jolie's present union with her first 2 husbands, they could draw a very perplexing conclusion. What's the current state of Angelina Jolie's marriage to Jonny Lee Miller? A ridiculous film about computer hackers was produced in 1995, and it quickly bombed both critically and financially. Because so many people adore its distinctive look, the film Hackers has now become something of a cult favorite. Everything we know about the marriage of Jonny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie. Despite how amusing it is to see some individuals like hackers, the fact is that hardly one engaged in the film's production at the time saw much of a career boost from it. That does not imply, however, that none of the movie's stars learned anything from it. After playing romantic rivals in Hackers, Jonny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie started dating. Jolie and Miller started dating in 1994, and when they got married in 1996, they were among the most attractive young couples in Hollywood. Unfortunately for them, Jolie and Miller's union was never going to survive. Miller and Jolie split up after 18 months of marriage, and in 1999, their union was formally dissolved. Almost 2 decades after the dissolution of Jolie and Miller's union, Jonny featured in the follow-up to his most cherished film, Trainspotting. Miller spoke with Stuff New Zealand during the promotion of T2 Trainspotting in 2017 for a profile. In the ensuing essay, Miller gave a self-description that would shock some of his admirers. Actually, I think shy is accurate. These days, I'm a little more laid back. But I suppose I still don't feel quite at ease sitting here and talking about myself. Miller was cited later in the same article about his friendship with his ex-wife, Jolie. Miller made it evident that he had a good connection with Jolie, despite his reluctance to discuss his relationship with his ex-wife in depth. Yes, we're still close. You just received that. It has been little over 6 years since the article came out as of the time of this writing. Miller and Jolie may have now fallen out as a result of this. However, it seems doubtful that would have altered in recent years, given that 2017 was over 2 decades after Jolie and Miller's divorce, and given that they remained friends. What is the current state of Angelina Jolie's marriage to Billy Bob Thornton, her second husband? Jolie featured in Pushing Tin after meeting her 3rd husband while filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and her first spouse while working on Hackers. Jolie met actor Billy Bob Thornton while shooting on the film Pushing Tin.